Hi there, my name is Steve, this is TQA Weekly, and this week's question, did your browser just break? See, when I was younger, browsers were used to access text information on the internet, download some pictures, a bit of music, and of course some videos. But it was nothing like we have today. Our modern monstrosities of features allow us to access tons of video, movies, music, use them as word processors, video editors, photo editors themselves, and even some 3D modeling at the same time. In fact, they are so versatile that a browser can be your desktop. So it is basically a bane in our existence when they stop functioning correctly, making things that we take for granted complicated or near impossible to do. Or is it? You see, we'll start off by going through a few details about browsers that some of you probably are aware of and that some of you simply don't understand. But we'll start off with something simple. Your browser, especially if it's one of those popular browsers, likely has a feature that allows you to create an account, log in, and synchronize your bookmarks, your settings, and of course, periodically, your plugins, which means you can install, reinstall, uninstall your browser as many times as you want and lose nothing. That's a great feature. Now, there is one problem, and it is related to plugins. You see, plugins, when they are made correctly, don't cause issues. But if they are made poorly, this is where you get a lot of problems. And sometimes plugins contain malware and spyware that are basically designed to screw with your experience. So what you end up having to do is learn how to disable all of your plugins and to use them one at a time just to make sure that you are using plugins that function correctly, at least by themselves. And then when you start turning them on together and you see what's happening, that interaction, it might be time to remove those offending plugins that are not doing their job correctly. But here's a tip. It's likely the last one you downloaded. Because most of the time when something breaks, it's because you just did something different. Or it was the last plugin updated. If it was just updated, it's possible that it is now broken. You might want to disable it, remove it, or of course, use a different browser. However, that is basically what it comes down to for plugins. In many cases, though, it's not related to plugins. It's related to clearing the cache. Yes, you heard me right. Your temporary internet files and cache might cause an issue. Programmers try to do things in a way that allows you to experience the internet faster, which means that in some cases, we are extending the cache lifespan of said file to a length of time that is not plausible for our coding practice, meaning that some old code somewhere stored in your cache might be causing a problem with a very specific website, and clearing your temporary internet files, your cache, can solve many issues. Keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to delete your cookies, but it might help to delete everything depending on the issue. I mean, if you clear your internet files, your cache, and you still have problems, then deleting also the cookies might help itself. But then again, that's not always the problem. You see, sometimes the problem is just the browser itself. You see, if a browser has been damaged in one way or another, or if you've changed settings in it that make it unstable, then the final technique, which is basically the technique before going full nuclear, is probably going to be best for you. You see, usually in the settings menu, you have the option to reset the browser entirely to its factory default, putting all the settings back to where they start from when they are first installed. And it will do this provided it's not damaged by malware or virus. So doing this default setting reset on your browser might solve a lot of problems for many of you where plugins and a cache are not the culprit. Now, if that itself does not help, then you'll have to go full nuclear and uninstall the browser, restart the computer, then download the browser again, reinstall it, then log back in so that your settings are now restored. Just make sure that you scan your computer for malware and viruses in that case, and scan the file that you download just to be sure. Why? Because chances are that if doing the reset to factory on a browser isn't enough for it to be fixed, that you probably have some other problem in your computer that's related to that itself. So, yeah. Did your browser just break? Maybe. And this is what you need to look at to get it fixed. So like if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those that you think benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can do things such as see today's show notes, see last week's show notes, find other ways of subscribing, and of course, use the contact form to email me directly. And of course, if you want to watch me play The Witcher 3 or any other game that I feel like, go to twitch.tv/zaxis1981. On that page will be my schedule for when I play. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.